Good day, grade 8. Welcome to this session on chapter 9, such a very interesting chapter where we'll be looking at how to solve equations using different techniques and methods. You're welcome. So, as I've said, we are going to focus on equations. Okay. So, for our lesson, we'll focus mainly on solving equations using inverse operations, and then we'll move on to solving exponential equations. Then lastly, we will look into how to solve word problems, which is what we call mathematical modeling. Okay, that's where we'll be actually taking real life statements or problems and converting them to our mathematical equations. Okay, now starting with solving equations by inverse operations. Okay, previously we have solved equations by inspection, and that was in chapter, that should be chapter 7 or 8. Okay, but now we will learn how to solve equations using mathematical methods. Okay, and the first thing that we want to look at is additive inverse. Okay, remember in term 1 we did discuss additive inverses, where we said if I've got the number 5, its additive inverse will be a minus 5. Okay, if I have the number minus 2, its additive inverse will be a plus 2. Okay, so additive inverses will always give us a 0. Okay, as I've said that the additive inverse of minus 2 will be a plus 2, because when you add the 2, minus 2 plus 2 will give us a 0. Okay, so that is all about additive inverses. Now, I want you to consider 3 plus 5 all equals to 8. What is it that we notice? We notice that 3 plus 5 do actually give us 8. And as a result, this equation is true because the left-hand side is equals to the right-hand side. Okay, but what happens if now on my left-hand side I add a 2? Do you notice that now I'm no longer getting 8, but I'm getting 10, and 10 is not equals to 8. Okay, so as a result, the new equation is not valid, it's invalid. Okay, as the left hand side is not equals to the right hand side. All right, but what happens if 2 is also added on the right hand side? Is the equation true again? Yes, because 3 plus 5 plus 2 is 10, which is equals to 8 plus 2, which is also 10. So what we notice is we've added a 2 on the left and we've added a 2 on the right. What we do on the left, we do also on the right hand side. So as a result, the equation is true again, as the left hand side is equals to the right hand side again. Okay, now equations remain true so long as whatever we do on the left is also done on the right hand side. Okay, so please make sure if you add something on the left, also add it on the right. If you subtract something on the left hand side, also subtract it from the right hand side. Okay, so whatever is done to the left hand side has to be done also to the right hand side. Okay, very, very important. So this symbol here means is not equals to. Okay, we know that this one is equals to, so immediately I do this, it means not equals to. Okay, now let's go to example number 1 to see how additive inverses work. Okay, determine the value of x. Remember previously on the other sessions, chapter 7 and 8, we've looked at how to find the value of x using inspection, but now we want to look at how can we find the value of x if we use our additive inverses. Okay, determine the value of x if x minus 4 equals to 10. Okay, remember using inspection would say which value would replace x and be subtracted with 4 such that we get the same answer as 10. Okay, so in this case it would be 14. You are getting me? But we are not using inspection. we want to use additive inverses. So the question would be, how do I remain with x alone on my left hand side? Because to determine the value of x is to have x on its own and the value of x on its own on the other side. Okay, so obviously for me to get rid of the -4, I will have to add the additive inverse of -4 on both sides. What we do on the left, we do on the right. So I would add 4 on both sides. That will be +4, but also on the right it will be +4. And as a result, the -4 plus 4 cancel or give us 0, and I'll be left with x. On the right hand side, it will be 10 plus 4, which will then be 14. Okay, we are not using inspection, but we are using additive inverses. Let's check example 2. Determine the value of x if now we have x plus 4 equals to 10. Using inspection, we would say which value would give us 10 if we would put it where there is x and we add a 4. Okay, so obviously that would be 6, because if x is 6 plus 4 is 10, so the left hand side will be equals to the right hand side. So in this case, we are using additive inverses, meaning for me to be left with x alone on the left hand side, I need to subtract a 4 so that +4 minus 4, they cancel each other. Okay, but what I do on the left, I must also do it on the right hand side. So that means we will then get this case here. It would be x plus 4, but for me to get rid of the +4, I will have to subtract the 4 on both sides. Okay, so it will be -4 minus 4, and then +4 minus 4 is 0, they cancel, but 10 minus 4 will be a 6, therefore my x value would be equals to 6. Okay, now determine example 3, the value of x if we have this equation here. Okay, 2x minus x plus 3 plus 5 equals to 6. Okay, so what we notice is we can first work out this. 2x minus x will be left with an x. Okay, we'll be left with an x, and then we add 3 and 5, we get 8. Then we have the 6. Now the question would be, which number would go into x such that I will be having the answer as on the right hand side when adding 8. Obviously that would be a -2, because -2 plus 8 would be 6. So my x value will be a -2 using inspection. But I'm not using inspection in this case, I'm using additive inverse. So for me to be left with x, I must actually get rid of the +8 by subtracting 8. Okay, so that would be -8 on both sides. So +8 minus 8 will cancel each other, and then 6 minus 8 on this case would be a -2. Okay, so the value of x would be -2. Example 4, determine the value of x if 3x minus 2x plus 5 equals to 7. So obviously the first thing that we need to do is to work out what is 3x minus 2x, which will be an x. Okay, and then it would be x plus that 5. Okay, and then as a result you would say which value of x would go where there is x, such that we get the same answer as on the right hand side. Do you agree with me that the value of x would be 2 if we are using inspection, because 2 plus 5 is 7, and we have 7 on the right hand side. Okay, but we are not using inspection in this case, we are using additive inverses. Okay, so for me to be left with only x, I have to get rid of the +5 by subtracting a 5. Okay, so that will be +5 minus 5, 0. But remember, when I subtract 5 on the left hand side, I must also do it on the right hand side, and therefore I'll be getting the answer 2, and that will be my value of x, which is 2. Okay, but we can take a shortcut, guys. We don't really have to always follow the additive inverse. Okay, it is quite a handful tool for us to use, but there is a shortcut. Okay, we've seen how the additive inverse works, and now we want to check how other shortcut methods work. Okay, they are very, very easy. So let's check how the shortcut method works if I don't want to use the additive inverse. Okay, so my shortcut would be, you change the sign of the number and variable when moving them over the equal signs. So what are we saying? We are saying immediately you transpose a positive number to the other side, it will become a negative same number. Okay, or if you transpose a negative number from one side to the other side, it will become a positive the same number. Okay, let's check. Consider this equation here, x plus 2 equals to 5. Remember, if you are using your additive inverse, for you to get x alone, you would subtract the 2 both sides. Then you'll be having x equals to 5 minus 2, which will be 3. But you don't have to use the additive inverse. We can use our short method. So how do you use the short method? By taking the plus 2 to the right hand side. But remember, when the plus 2 goes to the other side, it will become a minus 2. That's what we were saying by changing the sign. Okay, so it will be x alone. Remember, the plus 2 goes to the other side and becomes a minus 2. So that will be 5 minus 2, and it will be x equals to 3. Okay, that's how easy we can actually do our calculations if we are not using the additive inverse. Let's just look at example 1 to see if we are following. Determine the value of x if 3x minus 6 equals to 10 plus 2x. Remember, I'm not using my additive inverse, but if you want to use it, you can use it, it's fine. But what would I do? I've got 3x, I've got 2x. So I would make sure that all my terms that have x in them are on one side. And then all numbers without the x in them will be on the other side. So I will take the plus 2x to this side, of which it will become minus 2x. Okay? And then I will take my minus 6 to this side, of which it will become a plus 6. Okay? Now, as a result, this is what we'll be having. 3x minus 2x equals to 10 plus 6. Then what is 3x minus 2x? The answer is x. What is 10 plus 6? 16. Therefore, the value of x is equals to 16. Okay. Now, please note that when solving equations, okay, always move all variables to one side of the equation. Like what I was telling you, x is on one side, numbers without x is on the other side. Okay. And very, very important also, numbers must be on the other side on their own. Okay, very important. Let's check example number 2. Determine the value of a, okay, if 10a plus 4 equals to 3 plus 9a. So what am I going to do? All the numbers with alphabets or letters in them, one side. All numbers without letters in them, the other side. So it will be 10, remember, plus 9. If it goes that side, it will be minus 9a. Okay, and then also the plus 4, if it comes this side, it will be a minus 4. Okay, now let us check. What is 10a minus 9a? It will be a. 10 minus 9 is 1, so it's 1a, but we normally don't show the 1. And then 3 minus the 4, it will be minus 1. Okay, negative 1. Remember, small number subtracting a big number, the answer is always negative. Okay, very important. So the value of a is minus 1. Please note again, when solving equations, the layout used is very important. You can't have two equal signs in one line. Okay, you cannot. What are we saying? You can't say, let's go back to that example. You can't say equals to a equals to minus 1 or a equals to minus 1 equals to, like something like this. You can't have two equal signs in one line. Okay, that is not mathematically correct. So we only have one equal to sign in an equation. All right, very important. The left hand side of the equation must have a therefore. So this is the symbol that we use whenever we conclude, we give our answer, okay, to the marker. So what we're saying is, let's come back here. Would say 10a minus 9a is a, and 3 minus 4 is minus 1. So you say, therefore, do you see that? Let me do it again. You would say, therefore, a is equals to minus 1. We usually write it at the end where we usually give the final answer. Okay, we call that therefore sign. Okay, it's therefore sign. Having said that, let's check example 3. Determine the value of y. I hope you have noticed by now that we can use any variable, x, y, z, m, q, n, whatever. Okay, not only x, not only y. So you must be comfortable with working with any letter. Okay, if 7y minus 3 minus 9y equals to negative 3y, negative 7. So what is the rule? Transpose all terms with letters on one side and terms without letters on the other side. So this would be 7y minus 9y. Remember, the minus 3y, if it comes to that side, it will be positive 3y. Okay, so first of all, let us subtract 7y minus 9y is minus 2y. Okay, that's the answer. And then now let's transpose our minus 3y to the other side. It will be positive 3y, and that's what we have there. Then that side we are left with minus 7. There we have it. And then we transposed our minus 3. It will become a positive 3. Okay, there we have it there. Then what is minus 2y plus 3y? It is the same as 3y minus 2y, which is 1y, but we normally don't show the 1. And then what is minus 7 plus 3? The answer would be a minus 4. So your value of y would be y equals to a minus 4. Okay. Now, very important, checking solutions to an equation is one of the important steps that you should always consider. Okay. So what are we saying? After finding your answer, you can take it and substitute it back into the original given equation. And then if the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side numerically, then it means your answer is correct. Okay. So in order to check your answer to an equation, you have to substitute your answer into the original given equation. Okay. And if the left-hand side equals to the right-hand side, your answer is correct. Very, very correct. Okay. Now, determine the value of x. Let me just show you what we mean. Determine the value of x. Okay, so this is the equation that is given. So remember, all the terms with letters one side, all the terms without letters on the other side. So it would be 2x. Then we transpose the plus x to the side. It will become a minus x. Okay, there we have it there. And then the minus 3 will go to the other side, which will become plus 3. Okay, there we have it. So 2x minus x is x. Okay, then 5 plus 3 is 8. So the value of x is equals to 8. So what we were saying in terms of checking, then you would say, let us check. Left-hand side, so the left-hand side of the original equation that was given was 2x minus 3. Okay, such that where there is x now, we're going to put in the value of x. Okay, so this would be 2x minus 3, and then where there is x, we put the value of x, which is 8. Remember, we just found it. So 2 times 8 is 16, minus 3, the answer is 13. Then you also write down the right-hand side of the given equation, which was 5 plus x, but where there is x, I'm going to put the value of x, which is 8. And then 5 plus 8 is 13. So what do you notice? The left-hand side was 13, the right-hand side is 13. Therefore, the left-hand side equals to the right-hand side here. Okay? And what does that mean? It means our answer is correct. Okay? You don't have to always show the proving that the left-hand side is always equal to the right-hand side. You'll only do it if you ask you to do it. Okay? But also, it's important that you use it to check whether you have done the correct procedure and your answer is correct. Okay? Now, let us go to the next part of the lesson. Okay, we looked at additive inverses and we've looked at how to transpose terms and changing of sign. Now we want to look at how to solve equations using the multiplicative inverse. Okay, we've just looked at the additive inverse. Now we are looking at the multiplicative inverse. First of all, I want you to remember that the opposite operation for multiplication is division, and the opposite of division is multiplication. Okay, that's very important. Now, examine this equation here, 2x equals to 8. We want to solve for x, but for us to find the value of x, we must get rid of the 2 which is next to x. Do you remember that 2x was written as 2 times x? So it means since I'm multiplying here, then I can get rid of the 2 by dividing. Yes? Okay. So when I divide, I'm going to divide on the left and on the right. Remember we said what you do on the left, you must also do on the right. So it would be 2 times x divided by 2 there, okay, and then 8 divided by 2 there, okay. So what is 2x divided by 2 would then be left with x. But what is 8 divided by 2 then would left with a 4. Therefore, the value of x is equals to 4, okay. There's another way of writing it. I like that one, where you just say over 2, which is the same as dividing. And this one, why is it a nice one? That's because it shows you that the 2 and the 2 cancels. And what is left? I'm left with an x right there, okay? I like this way of writing because it shows you that what is cancelling. And then 2 into 2 once, into 8 4 times. 4 over 1 is 4, and hence we still get the same answer, okay? So remember I said the opposite of multiplication is division. That's why I'm dividing by 2 to get x alone and the value of x. Now let's go to example 1. Determine the value of x if this is the equation 6x minus x equals to 16 plus 4. So the first thing that we're going to do is find out what is 6x minus x. It will be 5x. You agree with me? And then what is 16 plus 4? It is 20. Okay. Now remember 5x is the same as 5 times x. So for me to get rid of the 5 in order to get x alone, it means I will divide, because opposite of multiplication is division. Okay. So let's do that. So I'm dividing both sides on the left and on the right by 5. So the 5 and the 5 cancels. I'm left with x. And then also 20 divided by 5, the answer is 4. So the value of x is equals to 4. Okay. Now example 2. Determine the value of x if this is the equation. Remember I said to you, terms with letters one side, terms without letters on the other side. So we would first take the positive x to the side, it will be minus x. And then we take the plus 6 to the side, it would be positive 6. You agree with me? Okay. So what would be 3x minus x? It would be 2x. You agree with me? And then what would be 10 plus 6? It would be 16. So let us go to the next slide. So it would be 2x equals to 16. But remember, 2x is the same as 2 times x. And I'm finding my x, so I will divide. The opposite of multiplication is division. So 2 will cancel, and I'll be left with an x. Okay? And then 16 divided by 2, it is 8, and the value would be x equals to 8. Okay? You can check if your answer is correct by substituting on the original equation both sides, the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So I see that when I substituted the value of x, which is 8 here, on the left-hand side I got 18. When I substituted on the right-hand side I got 18. That means my answer is correct. Okay? Now, moving on, let us check example 3. Solve for x. We are given this equation, okay? So remember, in chapter 8, I said to you, if there's a number in front of the brackets, you're going to multiply it with all the terms inside the brackets, okay? So this will be 4 times 5x, which will be 20x. 4 times negative 2, it will be minus 8, all equals to 9. Then the minus 8 doesn't have an x, so you're going to take it to the other side. It will be plus 8, okay? And then 20x will be equals to 9 plus 8 is 17. We divide both sides by 20 because I want x. And then I'll be left with x is equals to 17 over 20. Okay, we are done. You have solved for x. You can check if your answer is correct. And if the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, that means your answer will be correct. Now let's go to example number 4. With example number 4, solve for x if 2 times 3x minus 4 equals to 10. I have two methods that I'm going to apply in order to answer example 4. Okay, I see that there's a relationship between 2 and 10. And remember, as 2 is multiplying with the bracket here, is like one term. Okay, so I can divide this term by 2. You remember, I said the opposite of multiplication is division. That's why I can divide by 2 both sides. The other method would be not to divide, but to first distribute the 2 by multiplying by terms inside the brackets. So those will be the two methods that I'm going to use, okay? Let's start with the first method of distributing, using distributive law. So 2 times 3x will be 6x. Then 2 times minus 4 is minus 8, all equals to 10. Now, the minus 8 doesn't have an x, it will go to the other side, it will be a plus 8. Therefore, I'll be left with 6x equals to 18, okay? But remember, I'm looking for x, so 6x is the same as 6 times x. Therefore, I can divide by 6 both sides, and then 6 and 6 will cancel. I'll be left with x being equals to 3, okay? Well done. So this is my value for x. Method number 2, I said I can start by dividing both sides by 2, since multiplication opposite is division. So when I divide both sides by 2, I'll be left with 3x minus 4 right there. But what is 10 divided by 2? It's a 5. Okay. Then the minus 4 doesn't have an x. I'll take it to the other side. It will be plus 4. It's in 3x equals to 9. Remember, 3x is the same as 3 times x. So I can divide both sides by a 3. Okay. Then the 3 and the 3 will cancel. I'll be left with x is equals to a 3. Okay. Opposite operation of multiplication is division. Okay. Now, I want us to look at fractions. Okay. Most learners, they are afraid of fractions. I don't know whether because they were not treated well in lower grades or because they just don't like them. So it's very important for us to every now and then expose learners to fractions. Okay. So we are going to solve equations with fractions. Remember, a fraction, that's when you have a number over another number. Okay. Very important. So examine x over 2 all equals to 8. Okay. And we want to see how we can solve for x if we have a fraction like this one. Remember, what does this line mean? This line means division. Okay. So since it's division, that means opposite of division will be multiplication. So that means I can multiply both sides, the left and the right hand side, by what I'm dividing by, which is 2. And I'll find my x. Let us see how we do that. Okay. Very interesting. So method number 1, I know some of you would use inspection, and I said not applicable. I want you to solve. Show me steps. Okay, not applicable, but let me just take you through inspection. You would say which value of x would divide by 2, okay, that such that it would give us the answer 8. That would be 16, of course, because 16 divided by 2 is equals to 8. Left hand side equals to right hand side. But I don't want inspection. As I said, not applicable. Let's use calculations. So x over 2 equals to 8 was given to us, and we said I'm dividing x by 2. So that means I can multiply by the same number, both sides, because opposite of division is multiplication. So when I multiply both sides, it will be 2 times x over 2 equals to 2 times 8. Remember, what I do on the left, I must also do on the right. As you can see, I've multiplied by 2 both sides. Okay? So now, the 2 here and the 2 here will cancel. Very important. Okay? And I'll be left with an x. But the 2 here and the 8 will multiply to give us 16. Are we not getting the same answer? We are getting the same answer. Okay? Please, guys, this here, this is not x. It's multiplication. So immediately I say this divide by that, the multiplication also goes away. Okay, I'm left with an x. Please take note of that. Okay, having said that, let us go to method number 3 that I would use. Remember, we were given x over 2 equals to 8, and that's it. But we know whenever a number is just what can I say, is just a whole number or is just an integer, okay, we can always say it's over 1 because any number divided by 1 is the same number. Okay, so immediately I say over 1, that gives me an opportunity to cross multiply. Remember, cross means like this. So it gives me an opportunity to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply x and 1, okay, which is x. And I'm going to multiply 2 times 8, which gives me 16. You see that? So as a result, I am done. So either method number 2 or method number 3, where we say determine the value of x, and we don't tell you by inspection, you must use these methods, okay, any of the 2 methods. Let's go to example 1 and see whether we are on the same page. Determine the value of x if 3x plus 7 over 2 is equals to 5. Okay, so remember, what are we dividing with? We are dividing by a 2. So that means I can multiply both sides by 2 because the opposite of division is multiplication. Okay, so there we go. Method number 1, I'm multiplying both sides by 2. So this 2 times and that 2 will cancel, and I'll be left with what? 3x plus 7. Where? Here. Okay, and then 2 times 5 gave me 10. Then the plus 7 doesn't have an x, so it will come to that side. It will become minus 7. Okay, so I'll be left with 3x equals to 10 minus 7, which is 3. So now I'll be having 3x equals to 3, but remember 3x is the same as 3 times x. I can divide both sides by 3 to get rid of the 3 and be left with an x. And then when I divide both sides by 3, what is 3 divided by 3? It will be equals to 1. So x is equals to 1. That is how simple this thing is. Let's look at method number 2. Method number 2 is where I said we are given 3x plus 7 over 2 equals to 5. But I want to make that a fraction by dividing by a 1. So immediately it's like this. I can now what? Cross multiply. So when I cross multiply, it will be 1 times that whole thing there, which is 3x plus 7. So remember, anything times 1 is that thing. Okay? So 3x plus 7 times 1, it will be 3x plus 7 there. Okay? And then cross multiply 2 and 5. I'm getting 10, and there is 10. Then transpose the plus 7, it will be minus 7. Okay? And then 3x will be equals to 10 minus 7, which is 3. We are here now. And then 3x, I want to get rid of the 3. So I will divide both sides by a 3. Okay? Such that I get rid of the 3 with an x. So this and this will cancel, and I'll be left with an x. Therefore, x is equals to 1. Okay. Now let's go to example number 2. Example number 2, we are still determining the value of x. If negative 2x over 3 plus 9 is equals to 2. So the first thing that I notice is the plus 9 doesn't have an x and is not part of the fraction. So we can take it what? To the other side. It will be minus 9. You agree with me? So as a result, 2 minus 9 will be a minus 7. Okay, I didn't do anything to the left hand side. I just transposed the 9. So now we are here. Once we are here, we notice that here, what are we doing? We are dividing by 3. So I can multiply both sides by what? By 3, because opposite of division is multiplication. So there we go. I'm multiplying by 3. So the 3 and the 3 will cancel. I'll be left with a minus 2x. And then the 3 times negative 7 will be a negative 21. We did integers in term 1. Please revise. So now, immediately I'm left with minus 2x minus 21. I want to get rid of the minus 2. Remember, it is minus 2 times x. So what do? I divide both sides by minus 2. So divide by minus 2, divide by minus 2. Therefore, minus 2 cancels. I'm left with an x. And then negative divided by negative is positive. Then 21 divided by a 2 remains as 21 over 2. So the answer is x equals to positive 21 over 2. Okay. The second method that we'd use, guys, okay, would be this one. We are still given this sum here. We start by transposing our plus 9. It will be 2 minus 9, which is minus 7. And then I say the minus 7 is over 1. You remember, I'm trying to make a fraction. We said if there's no over, then we can make our own fraction by saying divide by 1. Then I cross multiply 1 times negative 2x. What's the answer there? It is negative 2x. And then 3 times negative 7. What's the answer there? It will be negative 21. And then what do? Minus 2x is the same as minus 2 times x. And then I will divide both sides by minus 2. They will cancel. I'll be left with an x. But what I do on the left must also do on the right. So it will be negative, negative, positive, and then 21 over 2 will remain as 21 over 2. Okay? Please note, very important, it is normal to get answers. Okay? To get answers that are fraction. Okay? That are in fraction form. It is normal, like 21 over 2. Don't say, why is my answer a fraction? Please note it down. It is normal. Okay. Now, also, I want you to understand something. When I write a term as x over 3, this is the same as, remember, in front of the x, what's there? There is a 1, okay? There is a 1 right here. So this is the same as 1 over 3. You see, it's 1 over 3. All right? So, whenever a term is given in this form, okay, you can rewrite it as 1 over 3 times x. Is the same thing. Same applies to x over 2 is the same as half times x. Okay? And then also 2x over 3 is the same as 2 over 3 times x. Those are like the same stuff. Okay? Now let's go to example 3. Given the equation x over 3 plus 4 equals to 8, determine the value of x. So the first thing that we'll do, we transpose the plus 4 to the other side. It will be 8 minus 4. Okay? And then, since we are dividing by 3, we'll multiply both sides by 3. And then the last question says, check your solution that you have calculated above. Okay? Let's do that. So, x over 3 plus 4 equals to 8. We said we start by transposing 4. It will be minus 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. Then now we see that we are dividing by 3. Okay? So that means we can multiply both sides by 3. Opposite of division is multiplication. Okay, so that means when I multiply by 3, the 3 times and the 3 that is dividing will cancel, and I'll be left with an x. All equals to what I do on the left, I do on the right. It will be 3 times a 4, therefore I'll be getting 12. So the x value here would be x equals to 12. Done. But method number 2, you remember, that one of introducing a fraction over 1. So it means here and here, same steps, but when we get here, we then divide by a 1 so that we can cross multiply. X times 1 is x, and then 3 times 4 is 12. So as a result, we are getting x being equals to 12. Okay, very, very important. Now, let us go to the checking part. Remember, when we check, we have to check both sides of the equation. So the left-hand side was x over 3 plus 4. Where there is x, we now put the value of x, which is 12. Then this will be equals to 8, the left-hand side. But remember, the right-hand side was already 8. So that means the left-hand side equals to the right-hand side. And therefore, our answer is correct. The answer is valid. Okay? Let us now go to example number 4. Given the equation, okay, which equation is that? This is the one, 2x over 5 plus 6 equals to negative 3. We are supposed to find the value of x. Solve for x, okay? So the first thing that I'll do, I'll transpose plus 6 to the other side. It will be minus 6. So we'll be left with 2x over 5 equals to minus 3 minus 6, okay? There, which will be a minus 9. And then from here, we see that we are dividing by a 5. So we can multiply both sides by 5. When we do that, the 5 and the 5 cancels. I'm left with 2x. Okay, 2x there. And then 5 times minus 9, I get a minus 45. And then I will then consider the 2x. How do I get rid of the 2? By dividing both sides, by actually multiply. Oh, so this will be division because we were here. 2x equals to minus 45. So for me to get rid of the 2, I'll divide both sides by 2, and the 2 and the 2 will cancel. I'll be left with x, and then minus 45 divided by 2 will remain as minus 45 equals to 2. Okay, and that would be the answer. Let's check if our answer is correct. On the left-hand side, this was the equation, 2x over 5 plus 6. So where there is x now, we're going to put our x value, which is minus 45 over 2. And then the answer that we got for the left-hand side was minus 3. But already the right-hand side was itself minus 3. Therefore, the left-hand side equals to the right-hand side. And that means our answer is valid. Okay. Now, we are done with the first part of our session. And we want to go to the second part. Please, where you see that you did not understand, go back, listen again, pause the video, take it step by step until you understand. Okay. Now B, Solving exponential equations. Let's go back to exponents. Remember, when you look at exponent form of a number or a variable, we'll be having what? We'll be having a base and we'll be having an exponent. Okay, so an equation where the variable you are solving for is in the exponent, we call that exponential equations. Okay, so here we'll be dealing with exponential equations. They are important. Grade 10, 11, 12, you will be getting more of these calculations in your algebra for paper 1 if you are going to do pure mathematics. Pure mathematics is not difficult. The only difficult thing, or what seems to be difficult with the learners, is that they don't take math serials from grade 8. That's why when they get to grade 10, 11, 12, they think math is difficult. Now I'm telling you, exponents in grade 10, 11, 12, pure mathematics, they are there. So make sure you understand these at this level. Okay, so I want you to note the following. B to the power, if B, which is a base, remember, is raised to the exponent x, and all of this is equals to B raised to an exponent y. What do we notice? We notice that here we have a base equals to a base, but they are raised to exponents x and y. Okay, so what do we say? Equal bases, okay, will then be equating their exponents. So what we're saying is, if I have the same bases equal, then the exponents will also be equal. Okay, we did this in term 1. Please make sure you revise. So if b to the power of x is equals to b to the power of y, since the bases are the same, then it means the exponents will also be equal. Then x will be equals to y. Okay, I usually say to my learners, this will be b to the power of x, right? Equal, okay, before that, b to the power of y. So if b is equals to b, then x is equals to y. You see that? It's just simple, man. Okay. So having said that, let us now move on. That's very important. I wanted you to take note of that. Okay. So this is known as equating exponents. Equal bases, equal exponents. That's what we say. So let us look at steps for you to solve exponential equations. Make sure the exponent with the variable is alone on one side of the equation. So what we're saying is a base will be raised to an exponent and another base raised to an exponent. Make sure that that base with an exponent, which is a variable, where there is a letter in the exponent, is on one side, and then that base with an exponent that doesn't have a letter is on the other side. Okay, so it's like what we were doing, x is one side and those without x is on the other side, or any variable. Okay, now secondly, use exponent laws. Okay, exponential laws are important to get the same base on both sides of the equation so that you can then equate the exponents. Okay, very important. Now, let's put that into practice. Example 1, determine the value of x if 2 to the power of x. You see, there is the exponent, which is a variable, and our base is 2. So 2 to the power of x is equals to 8. So what am I going to do? For me to find x, since I'm dealing with exponential equation, check my variable is an exponent. That means I must find a way as to how I can change 8 to be in terms of base 2. Okay, so let me give you a very easy way. Okay, my learners know that we say punch 8 in your calculator, then punch or click on equal to, then click on shift, then click on fact. Fact will be F-A-C-T. Immediately you click on fact, then it will write your answer as 2 to the power 3. Let me repeat again. Press 8 equals to shift fact, then you will get your answer. Okay, very, very important. Now, since base 2 equals to base 2, equal bases will be equal exponents. Okay, we'll equate the exponents. So that means x will be equals to 3. Well done. Okay, now let us go to example 2. Solve for x if 2 times, remember brackets means multiplication. 2 times 3 to the power of x equals to 18. So the first thing that I'm going to do, the 2 doesn't have an x. So since they are multiplying, what's the opposite of multiplication? Is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Okay, so dividing both sides by 2, I'm left with 3 to the power of x, all equals to 18 divided by 2 is a 9. Okay, now I'm here. 3 to the power of x equals to 9. Remember, now I must find a way as to how I'll convert 9 to be in terms of base 3. So what did I say to you? I said to you, you can change 9 by punching it in the calculator. Say 9 equals to shift fact. Then your calculator is showing you this answer. Yes, no? Yes. Okay. Now I've got equal bases. Therefore, we equate the exponents. X will be equals to 2. Well done. Okay. That's how simple we do this. Example 3. Determine the value of x if 5 to the power of x multiplied because of the bracket by x, 5 to the power x plus 2. So here we've got an x. We can't divide by 5 to the power of x. Okay. So what am I going to do? I'm going to treat this as multiplying the same bases. I'm going to add the exponents. Okay. So what will be x plus 2? You agree with me that that will be, remember, multiplying same base, we keep the base, right? So there's the base, then we add the exponents. It will be x plus x, which will be 2x, plus the other 2. Okay, very, very important. Please, we are not multiplying here. Okay, we are not multiplying. Multiplying same base, we add the exponents. Okay, so we'll be having 5 to the power 2x plus 2, all equals to 25. But remember, 25 equals to shift fact. Our answer on the calculator is 5 squared. Okay, so equal bases, therefore we equate the exponents. It will be 2x plus 2, all equals to 2. Okay, there we are. Then what do? Remember, we can transpose the plus 2 to the other side. It will be minus 2. And you'll be left with a 2x. So 2 minus 2 is a 0. But how do I get rid of the 2 here? 2 times x, since I'm multiplying, opposite will be division. So the 2 and the 2 will cancel, and I'll be left with an x. Then 0 divided by 2 will be 0. Okay, so x is equals to 0. All right, very, very important. You can only equate exponents if bases are the same. Okay, well done. I'm still encouraging you to pause the video, listen as many times as possible where you did not understand, and try to do the problems over and over until you understand. Okay, now we are going to the last part of the session. We will be dealing with mathematical modeling, your word problems. Okay, so when we deal with mathematical modeling, we will be given a scenario in words. Okay, and we'll have to convert that scenario to an equation. Then, since it will be an equation with variables, we'll then have to solve for the variable and then answer the question. Okay, so let's look at the steps. 1, you must identify what you are asked to solve for and call it x, or let it be x. Then 2, make sure you pay attention to which specific operation you should actually use. Okay, for an example, if they use the word sum, then it means you'll be using a plus, and then if they use the word difference, then it means you'll be using a minus. If they use the word product, then you'll be using a multiplication sign. Then if it's quotient, you'll be using division. Okay, then lastly, always state your answer clearly. Okay, don't leave it as a variable. X equals to something. Tell us. Answer the question. Okay, using the correct units. Now let's go to the first example. The sum. Okay, immediately I see sum means plus. The sum of two consecutive means they will increase by a certain number. Okay, the sum of two consecutive numbers is equal to 49. So that means consecutive numbers, remember, they will always increase by 1. But if it is consecutive even numbers, they will always increase by 2. If it is consecutive odd numbers, they will also be increasing by 2, because let us start with even numbers. Even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8. So we see that they keep on increasing by 2. Odd numbers also, if they are consecutive, they will increase by 2, because it would be something like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, etc. Okay. Now, in this case, we are increasing by 1 because they didn't tell us whether the consecutive numbers are even or odd. Okay. So the sum of two consecutive numbers is equal to 49. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to let the first number be x. Therefore, the second number will be x plus 1, because consecutive numbers will increase by a 1. Okay. And they said when we add these two numbers, x plus 1, they will add up to 49. Okay, now I'm talking about the sum. So what are the numbers? They want to know the first number and the second number that are consecutive. I think I've already answered that. It's going to be the first number plus, meaning sum, the second number, where we said their sum will be equals to 49. Now x plus x is 2x, but remember the plus 1, we take it to the other side, it will be a minus 1, therefore we'll get a 48. But 2x, I can divide by 2. Opposite of multiplication is division, such that the 2 and the 2 will cancel. I'll be left with x. Then 48 divided by 2 also will be a 24. So x will be equals to 24. But remember I said, let the first number be x. That means first number will be 24, the answer. Then the second number will be plus 1, which will be 25. Okay, we're done. Let's go to the second example. Okay, if the sum, underline sum, so there is a plus in there. Okay, if the sum of a number and 6, so if we let a number be x, that means x plus 6 is multiplied by 4, so put brackets, multiply the whole thing by 4, it will give the same result. So this means will be equals to, alright, giving the same result means they are equivalent as multiplying the number by 12. Okay, number is x, therefore this will be equals to 12 times x, the number. Okay, I think I'm done. What is the number? Since we let the number be x, okay, since the number is x, that means it will be x plus 6 times 4, all equal to 12 times x. Then we can now solve for x. So you're going to multiply by 4 inside there. It will be 4x plus 24, all equals to 12x. Transpose the 12x to the other side. Then we'll be getting 4x minus 12. Then take the plus 24 to the other side, we'll be getting minus 24. 4x minus 12x is minus 8x, all equals to minus 24. Okay, and then remember this is like minus 8 times x, so we can divide both sides by minus 8. Okay, and then when we do that, minus 8 cancels, I'm left with an x, and then What you do on the left, you do on the right also. So divide by minus 8, negative, negative, positive. Then 8 divided by 24 divided by 8, the answer is 3. So x will be equals to 3. That means the number will be 3. Okay, very important. Let's go to the third example, real life problems. The sum means plus, of 3 consecutive, meaning they follow each other, consecutive odd numbers. So if the first odd number is x, the second odd number will be x plus 2, then the third odd number will be x plus 4, because they keep on increasing by 2. So the sum of consecutive odd numbers is 27. Okay, determine the numbers and check that your solution is correct. Okay, so I think I've already done that. Let the first number be x. Therefore, the second odd number will be x plus 2. The third odd number will be x plus 4. So we're going to add all of them, and they said they are equals to the sum of 27. So x plus x plus x, that will be 3x, and then 2 plus 4, that will be 6. There we are. And then 3x plus 6 is equals to 27. Okay. And then we transpose the plus 6 to the other side, it will be minus 6. So 27 minus 6 is 21. So the 3x, remember, we want to get rid of the 3. So we're going to divide by 3. Okay, 3 times x, opposite of multiplication is division. So the 3 and the 3 will cancel. I'll be left with an x. But 21 divided by 3 is 7. Okay, so x will therefore be equals to 7. What does that mean? It means the first number will be 7 plus 2, 9 plus 2, 11. So that will give us the 3 consecutive odd numbers. They said you must check. So when I add the 3 consecutive numbers, 7 plus 9 plus 11, I get 27, and their sum on the right hand side was 27. That means the 3 consecutive numbers are correct. Okay, sum of the odd numbers add up to 27. Now let's go to example number 4. The sum of 3 consecutive even numbers. I think we also know here, if they are consecutive, they will increase by 2. So if the first even number is x, the second one will be x plus 2, the third one will be x plus 4. So their sum is 42. Determine the numbers and check that your answer is correct. Okay, so the first even number will be x, the second one x plus 2, the last one will be x plus 4. So when I add x plus x plus x, I get 3x. That's what I have there, and then 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay, so I transpose the plus 6 to the other side. I'll get 3x equals to 42 minus 6, of which then it will be 36. But 3 times x, opposite will be division by 3. So 3 and 3 will cancel, and I'll be having 36 divided by 3, which will be 12. Okay, so that means the first even number will be 12 plus 2. Second even number is 14 plus 2. The third even number is 16. Okay, they said we must check. So when I add the sum of the 3 consecutive even numbers, they add up to 42, and their sum, we are already told that it is 42. That means answers are valid as the sum of the numbers add up to 42. Okay, very important. Now let's go to example 5. The sum, meaning there is a plus involved, of 2 consecutive even, two consecutive even numbers, okay, is equal to 44 less. Okay, that will be a minus 44. 44 less, okay, minus 44. Less than 3 times. So this will be 3 times the sum of the numbers. Okay, that's fine. What are the numbers? So what are we going to do? The first thing that we're going to do is let the first even number be x. Second even number will be x plus 2, since they are even. Less than means minus. Okay, so this will be minus a 44. Okay? Then they said their sum is equal to 3 times the sum of the two even numbers and less by 44. So this will be x plus 2, which will be 2x plus 2, all equals to 3 times the sum of the two even numbers less by 44. Okay, that's the equation. And then now, this is still the same here. But what are we going to do with the 3? We're going to distribute it. Use the distributive law. 3 times 2x is 6x. Okay? Then 3 times positive 2 is a positive 6. Then all minus 44. And then now we transpose the positive 6 to the left hand side. We get a minus 6x. And then 6 minus 44, we get a minus 38. But what do we do now with the 2 here? We take it to the other side. Okay? And then we'll be getting a minus 2. So it will be minus 38 minus 2, which is minus 40. Then here it will be 2x minus 6x, which is minus 4. Now, how do you get rid of the minus 4 in order that we are left with only x? We divide both sides by a minus 4, and therefore here we'll be left with an x, and then this side it will be positive 10. Okay, so the x value then will be 10, which represents the first even number. Then the second even number will be plus 2, which will be 12. Okay, now we are going to the last example, example 6. Harry is 4 times as old as Sean. Okay, in 20 years time, that is plus 20, Harry, will be twice as old as Sean. How old are Sean and Harry? Okay, so let x be Sean's age, and that means Harry's age will be 4x, because it is 4 times that of CM. Okay, so in 20 years time, that means Sean will be x plus 20, where Harry will be 4x plus 20 in 20 years time. Okay, but what is it that we know? We already know that Harry, okay, will be twice as old as Sean's age in 20 years time. So twice will be 2 times the age of Sean, which is x plus 20. And then from here, we have an equation. Okay, so we're going to distribute the 2, multiply. Okay, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 20 is 40. We are here. Then we take the 2x to the other side. We'll be getting minus 2x. Then we take the plus 20 to the other side, and we'll be getting a minus 20. Okay, 4x minus 2x is 2x, equals to 40 minus 20 will be 20. Okay, then 2x is the same as 2 times x. We divide both sides by 2 to get x, and then what we do on the left, we do on the right. 20 divided by 2 is 10. That means since x was let to be Sean's age, then that means Sean will be automatically 10 years, and then Harry will be 40 years, 4 times the age of Sean. Okay, and then we have come to the end of our chapter 9 session. Please watch the session on chapter 10. Thank you very much for watching. Please do also check on the other chapters which serve as basic knowledge to these chapters, chapter 9 and 10. Please make sure that you also subscribe, and don't forget to give a thumbs up. Please continue to do your maths, and you will really find all this stuff easy. They just require a lot of practice. Thank you.